Hi guys, tonight, we travel back into the world's most forgotten history. Close your eyes, relax, and drift gently into the past. There is no need to hurry. There is no great event waiting for us. No army is marching across a distant field. No king is standing before a crowd. No bell is calling people toward some important ceremony. Instead, we will begin with something much quieter. A village at night. A small medieval village, somewhere in Europe, many centuries ago, resting beneath a dark and open sky. The road through the village is empty now. During the day, feet have passed along it again and again. Farmers have walked toward their fields. Children have carried small bundles. Traders have led animals through the narrow lanes. Neighbors have stopped beside doorways to exchange a few quiet words. But now the road has become still. The earth beneath it is cool. The dust has settled. A little moisture has gathered in the grass beside the path, and the wooden fences appear darker beneath the night sky. There is a faint smell of smoke in the air. It comes from the fires that are slowly dying inside the houses. Somewhere nearby, a dog shifts in its sleep. A horse moves one hoof against the packed earth of its shelter. Then everything becomes quiet again. This is the village after the day's work has ended. And for most people living here, the night is not a time of entertainment or activity. It is simply the long, gentle space between one day's labor and the next. The houses are small. Most are made from materials taken from the land around them. Timber, clay, mud, reeds, stone, straw. The exact materials change from one region to another, but the feeling is much the same. These homes are close to the earth. They are built low, often with thick walls and small openings. A little warmth is held inside. The roof may be covered with thatch, layered carefully over wooden supports. In the darkness, the roofs look soft and uneven. A little smoke may still drip from the opening near the roofline. Inside one house, a family is already asleep. There is not much furniture. A wooden bench. A rough table. A few stools. Some baskets. A storage chest. Perhaps a spinning tool resting against a wall. Near the center of the room is the hearth. The fire is small now. Its bright flames have disappeared, leaving only a few red pieces of wood beneath a layer of ash. Earlier, the hearth was the warmest place in the house. Food was prepared there. Water was heated there. People gathered around it while they finished the last small tasks of the evening. Now the family has settled down. A blanket has been pulled over tired shoulders. Someone turns quietly in sleep. The straw beneath the blankets makes a faint rustling sound. Then silence. The medieval night is often imagined as completely black and empty, but even in darkness there are small sounds everywhere. Wood creaks as a house cools. A horse breathes slowly. Wind moves through thatch. An owl calls from somewhere beyond the fields. A branch brushes against a wall. A person coughs softly inside a nearby home. Then, once again, there is only the night. For the people living here, these sounds are ordinary. They do not need to think about them. They have heard them every night for years. The village itself is part of their sleeping world. And perhaps that is what makes the night feel so familiar. Nothing needs to happen. The village simply rests. Earlier, while there was still light, the rhythm had been very different. The day began early because daylight was precious. There were animals to feed. Water to carry. Bread to prepare. Fields to inspect. Tools to repair. Firewood to gather. Clothing to mend. Grain to grind. There was always something waiting. The work was not divided neatly into separate hours. One task flowed into another. A farmer could begin the morning with the animals and later spend the afternoon in the fields. A woman might prepare food while also watching children, repairing clothing, feeding a fire, and carrying out many other small household duties. Older children could help with animals or simple farm work. Everyone had a place within the daily rhythm. And when the sun finally began to disappear, people slowly moved toward the end of the working day. The last light stretched across the fields. The distant trees became dark shapes. The roofs of the houses turned almost black against the fading sky. Smoke became easier to see. A farmer returning home might walk slowly along the village path, carrying a tool over one shoulder. His clothing would be dusty. His hands would be rough. His back would feel heavy after hours of work. There would be no need to speak much. The house was waiting. Warmth was waiting. Food, even if simple, was waiting. And most importantly, there was rest. Perhaps a loaf of coarse bread had been baked earlier. Perhaps there was a pot of porridge. Perhaps there were beans, onions, cabbage, peas, or whatever foods were available in that season. A little salt might be precious. A little meat might appear on special occasions. But ordinary meals were usually simple. Bread could be the center of the meal. Dark bread made from grain suited to the region. It might be dense and slightly rough. It would be broken by hand. The smell of freshly baked bread could fill a small house and remain in the air long after the loaf had cooled. At night, people ate without ceremony. There was no need for elaborate decoration. The table was a place for practical things. A wooden bowl. A spoon. A cup. A knife. Perhaps a shared pot. The family might speak quietly about the day's work. A roof that needed repair. An animal that had wandered away. A field that needed attention. A neighbor who had stopped by. A child who had been troublesome. Small matters. Ordinary matters. The kind of matters that make up most of a human life. And while the conversation continued, the fire slowly became smaller. The shadows along the walls grew longer. Eventually, one person would stand and begin putting things away. The bowls would be cleaned. The last pieces of food covered. The fire adjusted. Doors checked. Animals looked over one final time. Then the house would become quiet. Outside, the village would be almost entirely dark. There might be a little light visible through a doorway. A small flame behind a shutter. A candle burning for a few more minutes. But light was expensive and difficult to produce. People did not fill their homes with bright illumination. Night was truly night. The darkness changed the way the village felt. Paths that were familiar during the day became uncertain. The fields disappeared into shadow. Trees became large dark forms. The edges of the houses were difficult to see. People who needed to move outside would carry a small lantern or torch, when they had one. Otherwise, they might simply wait until morning. There was little reason to wander. The village had finished its work. The darkness encouraged stillness. And so we can remain here for a while. Standing quietly beside the village road. The ground beneath our feet is cool. The air has lost the warmth of the afternoon. Above us, the sky is filled with stars. There are no electric lights in the distance. No glow beyond the hills. Only the darkness of the countryside and the faint shapes of the village buildings. The stars seem close. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a pale river. People in this village know the night sky well. They see it regularly. They know the changes of the seasons. They recognize familiar stars. They notice the moon. The moon matters greatly. A bright moon can make the roads easier to see. A dark moon makes the night deeper. The villagers do not need to name every star to understand the sky. They live beneath it. It is simply part of their world. Inside the houses, sleep comes gradually. There are no soft mattresses in the way we might imagine today. Many people sleep on straw-filled beds or simple piles of straw. The straw can be dry and scratchy. It has its own smell. Sometimes a wooden frame supports it. Sometimes the sleeping arrangement is even simpler. A blanket is pulled over the body. A rolled piece of cloth becomes a pillow. A cloak may serve as extra warmth. Several family members may sleep in the same room. Privacy is limited. Space is limited. But these conditions are normal. No one expects a separate room for every person. The house is a shared space. Work happens there. Eating happens there. Children grow there. People sleep there. Animals may sometimes be kept nearby, especially during colder seasons. The sounds of breathing fill the darkness. A baby wakes briefly. Someone reaches out and settles the child. The room becomes quiet again. Outside, the wind moves over the roof. The thatch shifts softly. Then stillness returns. For a person living in the medieval village, sleep is deeply connected to the rhythm of daylight. The sun rises. People work. The sun falls. People rest. There are variations, of course. A fisherman may follow the water. A shepherd may rise before dawn. Someone responsible for animals may wake during the night. A miller may work according to the movement of water or the needs of customers. But for many villagers, darkness means the day's useful work is coming to an end. The body knows this rhythm. After hours of walking, lifting, digging, carrying, planting, cutting, cooking, cleaning, or tending animals, the body becomes heavy. Hands ache. Feet ache. Shoulders ache. The tiredness is not unusual. It is simply part of life. A farmer may lie awake for a few minutes thinking about tomorrow. There will be more work. The fields will still be there. The animals will need feeding. The weather will matter. Rain can help. Rain can also make work difficult. A dry season can bring worry. A good harvest can bring relief. These thoughts may pass quietly through the mind before sleep. Then the person turns onto one side. The straw moves beneath the blanket. The fire gives one last faint glow. And sleep arrives. Beyond the houses, the fields lie beneath the moonlight. During the day, they were full of activity. Plows moved through the soil. Hands gathered crops. Animals pulled carts. People bent down to remove weeds. Now the fields are empty. The furrows appear as long dark lines. The wheat, barley, oats, or other crops move gently in the night wind. Nothing is hurried. The fields do not need to be worked until morning. The soil rests. The animals rest. The people rest. Even the tools are resting. A wooden plow leans against a wall. A hoe lies beneath a shelter. A basket has been placed upside down to keep it dry. A pair of worn shoes sits beside a doorway. Everything is waiting. Morning will come. But not yet. For now, there is only darkness. There may be a stream running near the village. Its water continues moving through the night. You can hear it before you see it. A soft, repeating sound. Water over stones. Water beneath a wooden bridge. Water passing the roots of trees. For someone who lives beside it, this sound is familiar enough to become part of sleep. Perhaps a fisherman has left his boat near the bank. Perhaps nets are drying beneath a simple shelter. The boat is still. The rope is tied. The river continues moving. The moon may appear on its surface for a moment, broken by the current. Then the reflection disappears. There are many things in the medieval village that continue moving even when people stop working. Water. Wind. Smoke. Animals breathing. Branches moving. The seasons themselves. But human activity becomes very small. A light behind one window. Then another disappears. One by one, the houses become dark. The village is now almost asleep. Somewhere near the edge of the settlement, a night watchman may be awake. In larger villages or towns, someone might be responsible for watching for fire, theft, or other trouble. But even the watchman's work can be quiet. He walks slowly. He listens. He watches the dark road. His footsteps are soft against the earth. Perhaps he pauses beside a wall. Perhaps he looks toward the fields. There is nothing unusual. Only the wind. Only the stars. Only the distant sound of an animal. He continues walking. His work is simple. Stay awake. Listen. Wait. The hours pass slowly. This is one of the strange qualities of the night. When there is little activity, time seems to move without announcing itself. A candle burns lower. A fire becomes ash. A person shifts beneath a blanket. The moon moves across the sky. The stars change their positions. The night deepens. And somewhere inside a small house, an old person wakes briefly. Perhaps age has made sleep lighter. The person listens to the familiar sounds. The roof. The wind. The breathing of family members. Nothing is wrong. So the eyes close again. The blanket is pulled a little higher. And the village continues sleeping. Medieval homes could be uncomfortable in many ways. They could be cold in winter. Hot in summer. Smoky near the hearth. Damp during wet weather. Crowded when several people shared the same small room. Yet these conditions were ordinary. People adapted to them. They learned how to arrange their bedding. How to keep a fire alive. How to store food. How to close a doorway against wind. How to repair a roof with whatever materials were available. A village was constantly being repaired. Nothing stayed perfect for long. A fence broke. A roof leaked. A basket became weak. A shoe developed a hole. A wooden handle cracked. A wall needed patching. These small problems were simply part of the rhythm. Tomorrow, someone would fix them. Tonight, they could wait. And this waiting is part of the peacefulness of the medieval night. Not everything has to be finished. Not everything has to be solved. Some things can remain unfinished until daylight. The village can sleep with a broken fence. A basket can wait. A tool can wait. A field can wait. The people can wait. For several hours, the world does not ask very much from them. Only rest. Only sleep. Only the quiet turning of the night. As we move slowly along the village path, we might notice a small garden beside one of the houses. During daylight, someone tends it carefully. There may be onions growing in the soil. Herbs. Beans. Cabbage. Perhaps a few fruit trees nearby. Now the garden is silver beneath the moon. Leaves move gently. The smell of damp earth rises from the ground. A wooden fence separates it from the road. Inside the house, the person who cared for the garden is asleep. There is no thought of the plants tonight. They will still be there in the morning. The same is true of the animals. A cow lies quietly in its shelter. A goat rests near a wall. Chickens have settled into their sleeping place. Horses stand or lie quietly, depending on the stable. Their breathing is slow. Their bodies give off warmth. The stable smells of hay, straw, wood, and animals. Someone may check them once before going to bed. Then the door closes. The animals are left to rest. A medieval village is a place where almost everything has a physical presence. Food must be carried. Water must be carried. Wood must be carried. Grain must be carried. Clothing must be washed by hand. Bread must be kneaded by hand. Fields must be worked with simple tools. Everyday life has weight. A sack of grain has weight. A bucket has weight. A bundle of firewood has weight. A basket of vegetables has weight. The body knows these weights. After many years, the movements become familiar. Lift. Carry. Walk. Bend. Pull. Rest. Then begin again. The night is when these movements stop. The hands become still. The shoulders relax. The feet no longer need to carry anyone across the fields. For a few hours, the body is free from its ordinary tasks. This is perhaps the simplest form of rest. Nothing more is required. The village does not need to become beautiful. It does not need to become important. It only needs to become quiet. And now it is quiet. The last visible flame disappears behind a wooden shutter. The watchman walks farther down the road. The river continues its soft movement. The trees stand dark against the sky. The fields stretch beyond the houses. And above everything, the stars remain. If we stayed here until the deepest part of the night, we would see very little change. That is part of the beauty of it. There is no sudden transformation. The village simply remains. A sleeping place. A collection of small homes. A few paths. Fields. Animals. Water. Trees. A church or chapel perhaps standing nearby, dark and silent. A mill somewhere along the stream. A barn. A storehouse. A few fences. A few carts. And all around it, the countryside. The people who live here are not thinking about history. They are simply living. They do not know that centuries later, someone might wonder what their nights were like. They do not know that their ordinary routines might become the subject of a quiet story. For them, this is simply home. The road they know. The field they know. The river they know. The roof above them. The straw beneath them. The familiar sounds of animals and wind. Tomorrow will bring work again. But tomorrow is still far away. For now, the night holds the village gently. And somewhere in the darkness, a sleeping farmer breathes slowly beneath a wool blanket. Nearby, his family sleeps. The hearth is almost cold. The walls hold the last little warmth of the evening. Outside, dew gathers on the grass. The moon continues across the sky. The river keeps moving. And the village, having worked through another day, settles deeper into sleep. There is nothing else that needs to happen. Not tonight. The fields can wait for the pale light of morning. The bread can wait. The tools can wait. The animals can rest. The doors can remain closed. The candles can burn down. The stars can continue their slow journey overhead. And for a little while longer, the medieval village belongs entirely to the night. The darkness grows softer. The sounds become fewer. The road becomes almost invisible. The last ember beneath the ashes gives a faint glow and then fades. The village sleeps. And beyond the village, beyond the fields, beyond the quiet river, the first faint suggestion of morning is still many hours away. So we remain here in the darkness. Quietly. Without hurry. Listening to the soft wind moving over the thatched roofs. Listening to the distant water. Listening to the slow breathing of a village at rest. And as the night continues, the ordinary lives inside these small homes remain gently folded into sleep, waiting for the first pale light to touch the fields once again. For now, there is only rest. Only darkness. Only the quiet earth beneath the sleeping village. The village remains quiet beneath the dark sky. The houses are still. The fields are still. Even the road seems to have disappeared beneath the darkness. But the night is not completely empty. There are small movements everywhere, so small that they almost seem to belong to the silence itself. A horse shifts its weight inside a wooden shelter. A loose piece of straw moves across the floor. Somewhere under a roof, a mouse searches quietly for crumbs left behind from the evening meal. A sleeping child turns beneath a blanket. A log settles in the hearth. Then the sounds fade again. The night continues. Inside one of the houses, a family sleeps close together. The room is dark except for a faint red glow beneath the ash. The fire was stronger earlier. It had warmed the room while the evening meal was prepared. Now only the deepest embers remain. Their light is barely enough to touch the nearby stones with a dull reddish color. The people sleeping around the hearth do not notice. They are tired. Their bodies have followed the same rhythm for so many days that sleep comes naturally after darkness. There is no need to decide whether it is time to sleep. The falling night has already answered that question. The youngest child may sleep closest to the warmth. An older child may lie near the wall. An adult may sleep beside the doorway. The arrangement depends on the house, the family, the season, and the available space. There is no perfect arrangement. There is only the arrangement that works. A blanket is pulled over tired legs. A rough pillow supports a head. The straw beneath the body is uneven. Someone may wake briefly because a piece of straw has pressed into the wrong place. A hand reaches down. The bedding is adjusted. The person settles again. Soon, breathing becomes slow. The room returns to silence. Outside, the cold air passes over the roof. During summer, the night may be comfortable. After a day of heavy heat, the cooler air can feel welcome. The walls of the house slowly release the warmth they gathered during the afternoon. People may sleep with the door slightly open. A small amount of fresh air moves through the room. In winter, everything is different. The darkness feels colder. The fire becomes more important. Wood must be saved carefully. A family cannot simply burn as much as it wants. Every piece of firewood has been gathered, cut, carried, and stored. Someone has spent time collecting it. Someone has carried it home. Someone has stacked it beneath a shelter. So during the night, the fire is kept modest. Enough warmth to make the room bearable. Enough light to see. Enough heat for cooking. Nothing is wasted. The medieval household is shaped by this constant awareness of materials. Wood. Grain. Water. Cloth. Oil. Wax. Every useful thing has required effort. This is especially clear at night. A candle is not just a little flame. It represents work. The wax had to come from somewhere. The candle had to be made. The flame must be protected. So people do not burn candles simply to brighten a room for no reason. A candle is used when needed. A little light for preparing something. A little light for finding an object. A little light for finishing a task. Then it is extinguished. Darkness returns. In some homes, there may be an oil lamp. Its flame is small and unsteady. It gives off a faint smell. The light reaches only a short distance. Beyond it, the room remains shadowed. A person sitting beside the lamp may be repairing clothing. Perhaps a torn sleeve. Perhaps a loose seam. The work is slow. The needle moves through the fabric. In. Out. Pull. In. Out. Pull. The hands know what to do. The person does not need to speak. The rest of the household may already be asleep. Only one person remains awake for a little while longer. Perhaps the garment is needed tomorrow. Perhaps it can wait. The lamp flickers. The thread catches the light. The wooden wall behind the person remains dark. Eventually, the work is put away. The needle is placed somewhere safe. The thread is folded. The garment is set beside the sleeping place. The lamp is extinguished. The room becomes completely dark. And the person lies down. There is a certain quietness in knowing that tomorrow's work has already been prepared. The bread flour is stored. The tools are nearby. The clothing is ready. The animals have been checked. The door is closed. Nothing more can be done tonight. So sleep. Outside, the village path stretches toward the fields. In the daytime, carts pass over it. Wheels leave deep marks in wet ground. In dry weather, the road becomes dusty. The dust settles on shoes, clothing, animals, and wooden carts. But at night, no wheels move. The road is empty. If the moon is bright, the ruts appear as dark lines. If the sky is cloudy, there may be almost nothing to see. A person walking through the village would have to move carefully. There are no bright lamps guiding the way. The darkness is part of the landscape. The road does not need to be visible all night. It will be used again in the morning. Near the edge of the village, a small stream passes beneath a wooden bridge. The bridge is simple. Planks rest across supporting beams. The wood has been worn smooth by many feet. During the day, people cross it carrying baskets and tools. Animals pass over it. Children may stop beside it. Water flows below. At night, the bridge is empty. The stream makes a soft sound beneath the boards. The sound is regular. Water moving over stone. Water moving around roots. Water continuing downhill. A person sleeping in a nearby house may hear it through the wall. After years of hearing the same stream, the sound becomes almost like another part of the house. It does not disturb sleep. It becomes part of sleep. The same can be true of wind. The wind moves through the trees. It brushes against the thatch. It passes through small gaps in wooden walls. It carries the smell of damp soil. In some seasons, it carries the smell of smoke from distant hearths. In others, it carries the smell of cut grass. At night, these smells can seem stronger because the village itself is so quiet. There is less human activity to cover them. The earth becomes noticeable. The grass. The animals. The wood. The smoke. the water. All of these scents belong to the village. A farmer might wake briefly and know from the smell of the air that rain has come. Perhaps the roof makes a faint tapping sound. At first, only a few drops. Then more. Rain begins falling across the thatch. The sound spreads over the village. Tap. 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 Then a steady whisper. The farmer remains under the blanket. There is no reason to rise. The roof is holding. The fields are receiving water. The animals are sheltered. The rain can continue. For a while, the whole village is covered by its sound. The stream becomes louder. Water runs along the edges of the road. Drops fall from the roof. The thatch darkens. The earth becomes soft. Inside the houses, people sleep beneath blankets while the rain passes over them. This too is part of medieval life. The weather is never distant. People feel it directly. Cold enters through walls. Heat settles inside rooms. Rain changes roads. Snow changes travel. Wind affects roofs. Sunlight affects the fields. A cloud can change the day. A storm can change the work. The people are deeply connected to weather because so much of their daily life depends on the land. At night, they can only listen. They cannot control the rain. They cannot ask it to stop. They simply wait. And waiting is something the medieval night contains in abundance. There are hours when nothing needs to be done. A person can lie beneath a blanket and listen. The mind may wander. Perhaps toward tomorrow. Perhaps toward yesterday. Perhaps nowhere at all. The tired body slowly becomes heavier. The sounds of the house become familiar again. The rain. The fire. The breathing. The wind. Sleep returns. Farther away, beyond the village, there may be a monastery. Its buildings are quiet at this hour. Stone walls hold the darkness. Inside, monks sleep or rise according to their religious schedule. A bell may eventually sound before dawn. But for now, even the monastery is quiet. The village does not need to think about it. Its own rhythm continues. Nearby, perhaps a small church stands beside the road. Its tower rises above the rooftops. During the day, people pass beneath it. At night, it is simply a dark shape against the sky. The door is closed. The windows are dark. The building rests. A bell might mark certain hours, depending on the place and time. But there are long stretches when no sound comes from it. The village does not need constant noise. Most of the night is quiet. And that quiet gives ordinary sounds their importance. A single footstep can be heard from far away. A barking dog can break the silence and then stop. A door can creak. A cart can move somewhere along a distant road. Then everything becomes still again. Perhaps a traveler is passing outside the village. His horse moves slowly. The road is difficult in darkness. He may stop near an inn or a farmhouse. But most people are already asleep. The traveler may have to wait until morning. Travel at night is not easy. Roads are uneven. Bridges are uncertain. Forests are dark. Weather can change quickly. So the safest and simplest choice is often to stop. Find shelter. Feed the horse. Eat something. Sleep. Then continue when there is light. The medieval world does not move continuously through the night. It pauses. This is one of the reasons the darkness feels so deep. Activity gathers around daylight. Night creates a natural boundary. The village settles behind its doors. The animals settle into their shelters. The fields disappear. The roads empty. And people wait for morning. Inside another home, someone is still awake. An older woman sits near the hearth. Her work for the day is finished. She may be sorting dried herbs. Or simply warming her hands. The embers give a little heat. She looks toward the sleeping family. There is nothing urgent. She may remember other nights. Other winters. Other summers. Other houses. The village has changed slowly during her lifetime. A fence moved. A house was repaired. A tree grew larger. A child became an adult. Someone died. Someone was born. A new roof appeared. An old wall disappeared. These changes are small. But over many years, they become the story of a place. The woman sits quietly. The embers glow. Eventually, she too lies down. The house becomes completely still. The night continues. Beyond the homes, the animals breathe beneath wooden roofs. A cow shifts in the straw. A horse lowers its head. Chickens remain quiet. The stable is warmer than the open air. The smell of hay fills the darkness. A small animal may move through the straw. Nothing seems hurried. Even the animals follow the rhythm of the night. The village is built around this shared pattern. Work during the light. Rest during the dark. There are exceptions. There are emergencies. There are births. There are illnesses. There are storms. There are people who must wake early or remain awake late. But most nights are ordinary. And ordinary nights make up most of life. This is important when thinking about medieval history. The great events are easier to remember. Kings. Battles. Castles. Famous names. But beneath all of those things, millions of people lived ordinary days. They planted. They harvested. They cooked. They repaired. They carried. They washed. They raised children. They cared for animals. They grew tired. They slept. And then they woke and did much of it again. The night gives us a small doorway into that quieter world. We do not need to stand in a great hall. We do not need to follow a king. We can simply stand beside a sleeping cottage. We can listen. The roof moves slightly in the wind. A dog breathes beneath the doorway. The stream passes over stones. The fields are dark. There is a faint smell of smoke. The air is cool. And somewhere inside the cottage, a sleeping family turns beneath its blankets. Perhaps they dream. Perhaps they do not. Dreams are private and forgotten quickly. The night does not record them. Morning will arrive without asking what they dreamed. The first signs of dawn are still distant. For now, the sky remains dark. The moon has moved farther west. The stars above the eastern horizon seem a little different. The coldest part of the night approaches. This is often when sleep is deepest. The fires are at their lowest. The houses have cooled. The people have been asleep for several hours. Even the watchman may feel the weight of tiredness. He walks slowly. His cloak is wrapped tightly around him. His breath may be visible in the cold air. He pauses near the village entrance. Nothing moves. The road disappears into darkness. Beyond it are fields and woodland. The watchman listens. Perhaps he hears an owl. Perhaps a branch breaking somewhere in the distance. Perhaps nothing at all. He waits. Then continues his slow walk. There is something almost peaceful about this kind of duty. No great action is required. Only attention. Only patience. The village depends partly on people who remain awake while others sleep. But even the watchman is part of the village's rhythm. Eventually, another person will take his place. Eventually, he will return home. Eventually, he too will sleep. The hours continue. Deep night begins to soften. The darkness is still strong, but it no longer feels endless. Somewhere beyond the eastern horizon, the sky is beginning to change. No one in the village can see it yet. The fields remain dark. The houses remain dark. The river remains dark. But the night has begun its slow movement toward morning. Inside one cottage, a farmer stirs. Not fully awake. Only a small movement. His body has learned the time. Perhaps the animals will soon need attention. He turns beneath the blanket. Then becomes still again. There is still time. The village has not yet begun its day. The rooster has not called. The first footsteps have not touched the road. The ovens are cold. The tools are waiting. The fields are empty. The river continues flowing. And for a little longer, everyone remains inside. This last quiet period before morning has its own feeling. The night is no longer deep enough to feel endless. The morning is not yet bright enough to begin work. There is a narrow space between the two. A peaceful pause. The kind of pause that happens every day, even when nobody notices it. The sleeping village rests inside that pause. The roofs are dark shapes. The trees stand quietly. Mist may begin gathering near the stream. The fields may look silver beneath the fading moon. Dew rests on leaves. The road is cool and empty. And the houses hold sleeping people. Soon, someone will wake. Someone will open a door. Someone will carry water. Someone will check the animals. Someone will place wood on the hearth. Someone will begin preparing food. But not yet. For now, the village is still. The silence is gentle. The darkness is thinning almost too slowly to notice. And as the hours pass, the ordinary medieval night continues its quiet work, carrying tired bodies toward morning while the river, the fields, the trees, and the old roads wait patiently beneath the changing sky. The darkness has begun to soften, though the village is still mostly asleep. There is no clear line between night and morning. The change comes slowly. The black sky becomes a deep blue. The shapes of the trees begin to separate from the darkness. The roofs of the houses become visible again. A thin mist rests close to the ground near the stream. The village road is damp with dew. For a little while longer, almost nothing moves. Then, from somewhere behind a wooden wall, there is a faint sound. A rooster. The call is brief. It fades across the quiet fields. Another answers from farther away. Then another. The morning has begun. Inside the houses, people stir beneath their blankets. Sleep is not always easy to leave. The body is still heavy. The room is cold. The straw beneath the blanket has become slightly warm from the body lying there through the night. A person opens tired eyes. For a moment, there is no reason to move. Then the familiar responsibilities return. The animals. The fire. The water. The bread. The fields. The work of another day. A man slowly sits up. His blanket falls around his shoulders. He waits in the dim room while his eyes adjust. The hearth is almost completely cold. A few ashes remain. He reaches toward the place where the firewood has been stored. There is a little kindling left from yesterday. Thin pieces of dry wood. Small twigs. Perhaps a little straw. He arranges them carefully. A spark is protected. The kindling catches. A tiny flame appears. For a moment, it is the only light in the room. Then another piece of wood is placed over it. The flame grows. The room begins to change. The darkness withdraws from the corners. The rough wooden table becomes visible. The baskets appear. The hanging clothing can be seen again. The sleeping family slowly becomes part of the morning. This is how many medieval days begin. Not with a loud signal, but with small movements. A fire. A door opening. A bucket being lifted. A sleepy animal making a quiet sound. The man steps outside. The morning air is cool. After the darkness of the night, the sky feels wide. The fields are still gray. Mist hangs over the low ground. The road is quiet. He walks toward the animal shelter. His feet are bare or covered in simple footwear. The ground feels cold. He opens the wooden door. The animals shift inside. A cow turns its head. A horse raises its ears. The smell of hay and straw becomes stronger. He begins the morning work. There is no hurry yet. The day is only beginning. He brings feed. He checks the animals. He clears part of the bedding. He opens the shelter enough to let fresh air inside. Each movement is familiar. The hands know the work. The body knows the work. The same tasks have been repeated many times. Elsewhere in the village, another door opens. Then another. Smoke begins rising from a few roofs. The village is waking. A woman carries a bucket toward the water source. She walks carefully along the damp road. The bucket is empty now. It will not be empty for long. The stream is cold. She kneels beside it. Water moves around the stones. She lowers the bucket. The surface breaks. The bucket fills slowly. She lifts it with both hands. It is heavy. She pauses before standing. Then begins the walk home. This simple journey may be repeated several times during the day. Water is needed constantly. For drinking. For cooking. For washing. For animals. For cleaning. There is no pipe inside the house. The water must come from somewhere. A spring. A stream. A well. A river. The source depends on the village. And each household has to carry what it needs. The woman reaches her doorway. She sets the bucket down. Her hands are wet. The day is still cool. Soon, the house will become warmer. Soon, the village will become louder. But for these first moments, morning remains quiet. A child wakes. The child hears the sounds of movement. A parent preparing the fire. A bucket being placed on the floor. An animal outside. The child remains beneath the blanket for a little longer. There is comfort in warmth. Eventually, the child gets up. The sleeping place is put in order. The blanket is folded. The straw is adjusted. There may be no separate room to retreat to. The sleeping place becomes part of the room again. The house returns to its daytime purpose. Cooking. Eating. Working. Living. The first smell of food begins to spread. Perhaps grain is being prepared. Perhaps yesterday's bread is being warmed. Perhaps a pot is placed over the fire. The smell of smoke mixes with the smell of grain and wood. Outside, more doors open. The village slowly fills with footsteps. Not many at first. Then more. A farmer carries a tool. A child leads a small animal. Someone moves a wooden cart. A woman shakes a cloth outside a doorway. Someone else gathers firewood. The village is awake. And yet the night is still present in the cool air. The same road that was empty only a short time ago now has people moving along it. The same fields that slept beneath the stars are beginning to receive workers. The same animals that rested through the darkness are beginning their day. The change is gentle. Nothing happens all at once. This is one of the great rhythms of village life. Night becomes morning. Morning becomes work. Work becomes afternoon. Afternoon becomes evening. Evening becomes night. And then the cycle begins again. For people living close to the land, these cycles are difficult to ignore. The sun matters. The seasons matter. Rain matters. Cold matters. The length of daylight matters. The body itself becomes a kind of clock. A person may wake naturally before sunrise. Another may wake when the animals begin moving. Another may wake when the first light reaches the window. The village does not require every person to wake at exactly the same moment. But gradually, everyone joins the day. The fields are waiting. A farmer walks toward them. His wooden tool rests against his shoulder. The road passes between houses and then opens into the countryside. Behind him, smoke rises from the village. Ahead of him, the fields stretch toward the horizon. The soil is cool beneath the morning air. He walks slowly. There is no reason to hurry. He knows the work will take many hours. A field cannot be finished in a few minutes. The work is measured by repetition. One movement. Then another. Then another. The plow enters the earth. The soil turns. The animal pulls. The farmer guides. Then the process begins again. The sound is quiet. Wood against soil. Feet against earth. Animal breathing. Birds calling from nearby trees. It is not dramatic. It is simply work. And much of medieval life is made from this kind of work. The quiet repetition of necessary things. Back in the village, bread is being prepared. A woman places flour into a wooden bowl. Water is added. Her hands begin mixing. The dough becomes thick. She presses it, folds it, turns it, presses again. The work requires strength. The dough is heavy. The movement is repeated until it becomes smooth enough to shape. Then it is left to rest. The oven or hearth is prepared. Wood burns. Heat gathers. The house becomes warmer. The morning air outside may still be cool, but inside the house, the heat begins to rise. Bread is one of the simplest and most important foods. Its preparation connects many parts of village life. The grain was grown in the field. It was harvested. It was stored. It was carried. It was ground into flour. Then the flour became dough. Then bread. The loaf on the table contains many hours of work. But when people eat it, they may not think about all of those steps. It is simply bread. Warm. Filling. Familiar. A child reaches toward it. A parent cuts or breaks a piece. The meal begins. Outside, the village continues waking. The blacksmith's workshop may still be quiet. The mill may already be active if water or wind allows it. A merchant may be preparing goods. A carpenter may be opening a wooden door. The sound of tools will slowly become part of the morning. The village is no longer silent. But it is not yet loud. There is a soft rhythm. Footsteps. Animal sounds. Voices. Wood. Water. Smoke. The sound of work returning to the world. And perhaps somewhere along the road, a person who spent the night at an inn is preparing to continue a journey. The horse is fed. The saddle is checked. The traveler eats a little bread. The road ahead may be long, but the light is returning. Travel is easier now. The village can be left behind. The traveler passes the houses. A few people notice. Someone raises a hand. A quiet greeting. Then the traveler continues. The horse's hooves make a soft sound against the road. The sound becomes smaller. Then disappears. The village returns to its work. The sun rises higher. The mist over the fields begins to disappear. Dew dries from the grass. The air becomes warmer. The coolness of night retreats. Soon, the memory of darkness will seem distant. But for a few hours, the morning remains pleasant. People can work without the heavy heat of afternoon. The first part of the day is often valuable. Tasks that are difficult in strong sunlight can be done earlier. Fields can be worked. Animals can be moved. Wood can be carried. Water can be collected. The body is still rested from sleep. At least somewhat rested. Because sleep itself is not always perfect. Straw can be uncomfortable. Cold can wake people. Animals can make noise. Children can wake. A cough can disturb the room. A storm can shake the roof. Illness can make sleep difficult. The medieval night is peaceful, but it is not always comfortable. The people simply live with what they have. A person with a fever may lie beneath a blanket while others continue their work. Someone may bring warm water. Someone may prepare herbs. Someone may sit beside the sick person. Illness is part of household life. There are no simple solutions for many conditions. People rely on knowledge passed through families and communities. Rest. Warmth. Food. Water. Herbs. Prayer. Care. Sometimes a person recovers. Sometimes they do not. But even here, the night remains ordinary. A sick person breathes quietly. Someone sits nearby. The fire burns low. The rest of the house sleeps. The night does not announce what tomorrow will bring. It simply passes. This uncertainty is part of life in every age. But in the medieval village, the closeness of daily life makes it especially visible. People live near one another. Families share rooms. Neighbors know each other. A sick person may be cared for by relatives. A birth may be known throughout the village. A death may leave an empty place at a familiar table. Life is close. The village remembers. And yet most nights are still ordinary. Most people sleep. Most people wake. Most fires are lit. Most animals are fed. Most bread is baked. Most fields are worked. Most days pass quietly. As the morning grows brighter, the last traces of night disappear. The stars fade. The moon becomes pale. Birdsong grows stronger. The stream still flows. The road becomes visible. The houses take on their daytime colors. Brown walls. Gray stone. Dark timber. Pale thatch. Green plants. The village is no longer a silhouette. It has returned to the world. And somewhere inside one of the homes, the family that slept through the night is now eating its morning meal. There may be little conversation. People are thinking about work. A farmer considers the field. A woman considers the bread. A child looks toward the door. Someone needs to collect wood. Someone needs to repair a tool. Someone needs to carry water again. The day is already filling itself with tasks. Yet the night has left something behind. A little tiredness. A little coolness. A quiet memory of darkness. The body knows it has rested, even if the rest was imperfect. Soon the day's work will make everyone warm again. The farmer will sweat beneath the sun. The road will become dusty. The animals will become restless in the heat. The workshop will become crowded. The fields will become bright. But that is later. For now, the village is still in the gentle beginning of the day. And if we pause beside the stream, we can still feel something of the night. The water is unchanged. It flowed while everyone slept. It flows now while everyone works. The river and streams do not follow human schedules. They continue through darkness and daylight. They pass the village without hurry. A fisherman may soon come toward the water. He will inspect his net. He may step into a small boat. The morning is a good time to work near the water. The surface is cool. Mist may still linger. Fish move beneath it. The fisherman pushes away from the bank. The boat moves slowly. A paddle enters the water. Pull. Lift. Pull. Lift. The sound is soft. The village behind him becomes smaller. The river opens ahead. For a moment, the fisherman is surrounded by water and morning air. There is no crowd. No market. No workshop. Only the quiet movement of the boat. He has been awake since early. His hands are used to the work. The net is familiar. The river is familiar. The morning is familiar. And when the sun rises higher, the quiet will disappear. But for now, everything is calm. This is how the medieval day continues. One person toward the fields. Another toward the river. Another toward the oven. Another toward the workshop. Another toward the animals. Each person follows a different path, but all are part of the same village rhythm. No single person controls it. It simply exists. The village wakes because the sun rises. The village works because work is needed. The village rests because bodies become tired. And when darkness returns, the same houses will close their doors once again. The same road will become empty. The same animals will settle into straw. The same hearths will glow. The same stars will appear. The cycle is already waiting inside the morning. But the morning is still young. The sun climbs above the trees. Warm light reaches the roofs. A few birds land near the road. A child carries a small bundle toward a house. Someone calls softly from a doorway. A wooden cart creaks. The day is becoming busier. And slowly, almost without noticing, the quiet night becomes another memory inside the ordinary life of the village. The people do not stop to think about it. They simply continue. The fields need attention. The animals need care. The bread needs to be eaten. The tools need to be used. And later, when the sun has crossed the sky and the shadows grow long again, tired feet will return along these same roads. The same doors will open. The same hearths will be prepared. The same families will gather. Evening will come. Then darkness. Then sleep. And the village will once again become quiet beneath the stars. For now, though, the sun is rising. The stream shines softly between the trees. The mist has almost disappeared. The road is warming. The first full light of day touches the fields. And the village, which only hours ago was sleeping beneath the night sky, has quietly begun another ordinary day. The morning continues to open slowly across the village. The sun has climbed above the trees now, and the last cool traces of night are disappearing from the grass. The damp road begins to dry. A thin mist that had rested beside the stream has lifted into the air, leaving only a faint silver memory over the water. The village is fully awake. But even now, there is no sharp beginning. There is simply one small task following another. A door opens. A bucket is carried. A wooden shutter is pushed aside. An animal is led into the yard. Someone steps into the road. Someone else returns from the well. The day grows through these little movements. A child sits near a doorway, rubbing sleep from tired eyes. Nearby, an older person sorts a small pile of vegetables. A chicken scratches at the earth. A dog walks slowly along the edge of the road, stopping now and then to smell the ground. The air carries the smell of smoke. The smell of bread. The smell of damp soil. The smell of animals. And beneath all of these is the familiar smell of wood and earth. The village is waking into another day that will be much like the days before it. The fields will be worked. The animals will be fed. Food will be prepared. Clothing will be repaired. Tools will be used until they become worn. Then, when the sun begins to fall, everyone will slowly return home. The night will come again. But before that happens, there are many hours of daylight. A farmer is already moving through the field. The earth is dark where it has recently been turned. His feet sink slightly into the soil. The morning air is still cool enough to make the work comfortable. He holds a wooden handle in both hands. The tool is simple. There is nothing mysterious about it. Its usefulness comes from being familiar. It has been repaired many times. Perhaps the wooden shaft was replaced after breaking. Perhaps the metal part has been sharpened. Perhaps a neighbor helped with the repair. Tools in a medieval village are not disposable objects. They are cared for because making a new one requires time and skill. A good tool can remain in use for years. The farmer works slowly. Step. Pull. Turn. Step. Pull. Turn. The rhythm is almost like walking. The animal beside him moves forward. Its breath is steady. The soil opens. Then closes again. There is no need to think about every movement. The body has learned it. The morning passes. Elsewhere, a woman sits near the doorway of her home. She has a piece of cloth in her hands. A tear needs repair. The fabric is worn thin. She examines it carefully. There is no large amount of clothing in the household, so garments must be kept in use as long as possible. A small repair today may prevent a larger problem tomorrow. The needle moves. The thread disappears into the cloth. The work is quiet. Nearby, a child plays with a small piece of wood. There may be no elaborate toy. The child does not require much. The piece of wood can become almost anything. A cart. An animal. A tool. A person. The imagination fills the missing details. The child moves the little object through the dust. The mother continues sewing. The dog sleeps in the shade. The morning passes. This is the kind of scene that rarely appears in grand histories. There is no famous person here. No important announcement. No great decision. Only a household using what it has. Only ordinary people maintaining ordinary things. And yet this is where much of medieval life exists. In the small repairs. In the quiet meals. In the repeated journeys to the well. In the careful storage of grain. In the feeding of animals. In the making of bread. In the long work of keeping a household alive. By late morning, the sun is stronger. The coolness of dawn has disappeared. The road becomes dry. Dust begins to rise beneath moving feet. A cart passes slowly. Its wooden wheels make a low, uneven sound. The horse walks with its head lowered. The driver sits quietly. The cart carries sacks of grain. Perhaps the grain is going toward a mill. Perhaps it is being taken to another household. Perhaps it will be stored. The sacks are heavy. The horse does most of the pulling. But the people who loaded the cart had to lift and carry them. Nothing in the village moves without effort. Even a loaf of bread has traveled through many hands before reaching the table. The grain was planted. The field was cared for. The crop was harvested. The grain was carried. It was dried. It was stored. Then it was ground. Then flour was mixed with water. Then dough was kneaded. Then the bread was baked. The final loaf may look simple. But behind it is an entire chain of work. The same is true of almost everything. A wool garment begins with an animal. Flax becomes linen. Wood becomes a table. Clay becomes a pot. Iron becomes a tool. Every useful object carries the effort of someone. The people of the village understand this without needing to explain it. They live among the materials of their world. There is little distance between a thing and the labor that made it. The sun rises higher. The work continues. Near the center of the village, a small workshop is becoming active. The door is open. Inside, tools hang from wooden supports. A workbench stands near the wall. The floor is covered with small pieces of wood and dust. The craftsman begins working. The sound of the tool is steady. Tap. Pause. Tap. Pause. The sound travels through the village. A different kind of rhythm. Someone shaping wood. Someone shaping metal. Someone repairing leather. The village has many forms of labor. Some work happens outdoors. Some happens inside. Some work is heavy. Some requires patience. Some requires skill. None of it is completely separate from the rest. The farmer needs tools. The carpenter needs wood. The blacksmith needs fuel. The household needs baskets. The merchant needs goods. The animals need harnesses. The village depends on many hands. And while these people work, the night from the previous evening is already fading into memory. The candlelight is gone. The sleeping rooms are empty. The blankets are folded. The ashes from the hearth have been stirred into a new fire. But the same walls remain. The same sleeping places remain. The same roof remains above them. The house has changed from a place of rest into a place of work. By midday, the heat becomes heavy. The sun stands higher. There is little shade in the open fields. Farmers begin to feel the warmth through their clothing. Sweat gathers along the forehead. Hands become dusty. The body becomes tired. The morning energy begins to disappear. A short rest may be necessary. Someone sits beneath a tree. A tool is placed beside him. He drinks water from a wooden cup. The water is not cold in the way water might be stored today. It is simply water. But after working beneath the sun, it feels welcome. He drinks slowly. Then sits for another moment. There is no shame in resting. The work is long. The field will still be there. Nearby, another worker wipes sweat from his face. The animals stand quietly. Even they seem tired from the heat. The leaves above the workers move gently. A little shade falls across the ground. For a few minutes, the village seems quiet again. The midday heat has slowed everything. Inside the homes, people may also seek cooler spaces. Thick walls can help. A shaded room remains cooler than the open road. The fire is reduced. Cooking may be finished for a while. Children sit in the shade. A person may lie down briefly. The body needs rest before the afternoon work begins. This pattern of effort and rest is not new. The land sets the pace. Strong heat encourages slower movement. Cool mornings encourage harder work. The seasons change the rhythm again. Winter brings longer nights. Summer brings longer days. Spring brings planting. Autumn brings harvest. Life follows the calendar of the fields. At midday, the village may feel almost sleepy. The animals are quiet. The road is dusty and bright. The workshops are warm. The fields shimmer slightly in the heat. A bird calls from a tree. Then the sound disappears. Even the wind seems slower. This is a different kind of silence from nighttime. The village is awake. But the heat has softened its activity. A person might sit in a doorway. Another might rest against a wall. Someone might eat a simple meal. Bread, cheese, onions, beans, vegetables, perhaps dried fruit, perhaps a little meat if available. The meal does not need to be large. The food must last. A family thinks about what it has stored. How much grain remains? How much flour remains? How much firewood? How much salt? How many eggs? How many vegetables? The household is partly an exercise in careful planning. Food cannot simply be replaced at any moment. A poor harvest can affect the entire year. So people preserve what they can. Grain is stored. Vegetables may be dried or preserved. Meat may be salted. Some foods are kept for colder months. A full storehouse can bring peace. An empty one can bring worry. But on an ordinary summer day, people may not think too deeply about it. They simply eat. Then return to work. The afternoon begins. The sun slowly moves west. The strongest heat begins to soften. The farmers return to the fields. The craftsman returns to his workbench. The woman who was sewing earlier moves toward another household task. Children become more active. The road becomes busier. The village begins moving again. A shepherd leads animals toward another pasture. The animals spread across the grass. Their bells make a soft sound. A distant rhythm. Bell. Pause. Bell. Pause. The shepherd walks behind them. He carries a staff. The work is not physically demanding in every moment. Much of it is watching. Waiting. Guiding. The animals move slowly. The afternoon light falls across the field. Clouds drift overhead. The day continues. Near the stream, a woman washes clothing. She kneels beside the water. The cloth is placed into the stream. It is rubbed, pressed, rinsed, lifted. Water drips back into the current. The work takes time. Clothing must be washed regularly, but washing is not simple. Water must be collected or reached. Clothing must be carried. Hands become cold in cool water. In summer, the work may feel pleasant. In winter, it becomes much harder. The woman continues. A child sits nearby. The child watches the water. Small insects move above the surface. A leaf floats downstream. The current carries it away. The woman lifts another piece of cloth. The work continues. The village does not stop. The afternoon light becomes warmer. Shadows begin stretching across the road. This is the beginning of the long return toward evening. Farmers begin thinking about what remains to be done. Not because the day is over, but because there is only so much daylight left. Tools must eventually be carried home. Animals must return. Water must be collected. Food must be prepared. The day's work has an ending. And the ending begins before sunset. A farmer looks toward the western sky. The sun is still high enough. There is time. He continues. Step. Pull. Turn. The soil moves. The animal walks. The work remains steady. Later, the field will be quiet again. For now, it is still active. The afternoon becomes softer. A cool breeze moves across the open land. The smell of grass changes. Birds move toward trees. The shadows lengthen. A child calls from a doorway. Someone answers. A dog follows a farmer along the road. The village begins gathering itself. A cart returns. A tool is carried over a shoulder. A basket is brought home. A bundle of wood is placed beside a house. A bucket is filled. One task after another comes back toward the center of village life. The evening meal will soon begin. The hearths will be lit again. The smoke will rise. The roads will slowly empty. And the day that began quietly will eventually return to the same darkness from which it came. But there is still time before night. The sun has not disappeared. The village is not yet silent. A group of workers pauses near a wall. They talk quietly. Their faces are tired. Their clothing carries the dust of the day. Their hands are rough. They may not say much. The work has already spoken for them. A long day leaves little need for unnecessary words. Soon they separate. Each returns home. The road grows quieter. A farmer opens his gate. The animals recognize him. They move toward the shelter. He feeds them. He checks their water. He places fresh straw where needed. The animal shelter becomes calm. Another day of work has ended for them. Inside the house, someone prepares the evening meal. A pot is placed over the fire. The first flames rise. Smoke curls upward. The room begins to warm. Outside, the sun moves lower. Golden light touches the rooftops. The walls of the village become warm in color. The fields beyond them begin to darken. This is the hour when the village feels most connected to the day that is ending. People are returning. Children are coming inside. Tools are being put away. Animals are settling. The road is filling with the last footsteps. The same road that was empty before dawn now carries everyone home. And slowly, the village gathers itself into evening. The meal will be eaten. The dishes will be cleaned. The fire will remain for a while. People may talk. Someone may repair a tool. Someone may mend clothing. Someone may simply sit. The sun will disappear. The sky will turn purple. Then deep blue. The first stars will return. And eventually, the houses will close themselves against the night. The work of the day will be finished. at least for a few hours. The village will become quiet again. The people who worked beneath the sun will lie down. The people who carried water will rest their hands. The people who walked the fields will rest their feet. The people who baked bread will rest near the hearth. The people who tended animals will sleep near the animals. Everyone will return to the same simple need: rest. As evening approaches, a breeze moves through the trees. The road is cooler now. The dust settles. The stream reflects the fading light. A fisherman returns from the water. He pulls his small boat toward the bank. The day's catch is carried away. The river continues flowing. The fisherman looks toward the village. Smoke rises from several roofs. He walks home. His steps are slow. The day's work is in his shoulders. He has been awake since before sunrise. Soon he will eat. Soon he will sleep. And tomorrow, if the weather allows, he may return to the river again. The pattern continues. Nothing needs to be dramatic. The river does not care about the passing of one day. It simply moves. The village lives beside it. People are born here. People grow old here. People work here. People sleep here. And through all of it, the water continues moving. The sun disappears behind the distant trees. For a moment, the sky remains pale. Then the colors fade. The first evening shadows reach the road. One by one, the villagers close their doors. A wooden latch falls into place. A shutter is pulled across a small opening. A candle is lit. A hearth is fed. The houses become small islands of warmth in the growing darkness. The village is beginning its nightly transformation. The same places that were noisy with work only hours earlier are becoming quiet again. The workshop door closes. The cart is stored. The tools are placed beneath shelter. The animals settle. The children become sleepy. The adults become quieter. And somewhere in a small house, a person sits beside a fire and looks into the flames. The fire moves gently. Wood cracks softly. Shadows breathe across the walls. Outside, the last light disappears. The night is returning. And the village, after another long day of ordinary labor, is preparing once more to surrender itself to darkness. The last light has disappeared from the fields. The village is becoming dark again. Only a few traces of the day remain. A faint warmth lingers in the walls of the houses. The road still holds a little heat from the sun. The animals are settling into their shelters. And inside the cottages, small fires are beginning to glow. Evening has arrived. The people have returned from the fields, the river, the workshops, and the roads. For a little while, there is still movement. A bucket is carried inside. A bundle of wood is placed beside the hearth. A pair of muddy shoes is left near a doorway. A child is called inside. A gate is closed. A horse is given water. Then the movement becomes slower. The village has entered the part of the day when everyone begins to turn inward. During daylight, the world seems large. The fields stretch away. The road connects the village to other places. People can travel, work, visit, trade, and move from one task to another. At night, the world becomes smaller. The house becomes enough. The hearth becomes enough. The family becomes enough. Outside, the darkness gathers around the walls. Inside, a little warmth is preserved. The evening meal is simple. A pot rests above the fire. Steam rises slowly. Someone stirs it with a wooden spoon. The smell fills the room. Perhaps there are beans. Perhaps cabbage. Perhaps onions. Perhaps a little meat saved from an earlier meal. Bread is placed on the table. The loaf is no longer warm from the oven, but it is still good. A knife cuts through the crust. Pieces are passed around. The meal begins. There is no need for ceremony. People have been working all day. They are hungry. They eat slowly. A child dips bread into the pot. An adult drinks from a wooden cup. The fire makes a soft sound. For a while, the room is warmer than the world outside. The walls hold the light. The people sit close together. The day is discussed in small pieces. Someone mentions the weather. Someone mentions the field. Someone says an animal needs attention tomorrow. Someone remembers that firewood is becoming low. A child asks a question. The answer is quiet. The conversation does not need to continue for long. After many hours of physical work, silence can feel comfortable. People do not need to fill every moment with words. The fire can speak through its small sounds. The wooden table can remain still. The food can be eaten without conversation. Outside, the darkness deepens. The last person returning along the road passes the house. Footsteps. Then silence. A dog lifts its head. The dog listens. The footsteps fade. The dog lies down again. The family continues eating. When the meal is finished, the bowls are collected. A little water is used to clean them. Nothing is wasted. Leftover food is covered. The spoon is put away. The pot is moved. The table becomes empty. The evening work continues. There is always some small task. A garment needs folding. A tool needs cleaning. A shoe needs drying. A basket needs repairing. A piece of wood needs splitting. The work may take only a few minutes. But these little tasks are part of household life. A village cannot remain in perfect order without constant attention. Things wear down. Food disappears. Firewood becomes smaller. Clothing tears. Tools become dull. Walls crack. Everything needs care. And the evening is a useful time for some of these quieter tasks. Near one wall, someone repairs a wooden handle. The tool is placed across the knees. A small knife trims the wood. Thin curls fall to the floor. The smell of fresh wood rises. The work is careful. The handle must fit the hand. It must be strong. It must survive another season of work. The person checks it, turns it, cuts again, then stops. The handle is ready. It is placed beside the other tools. Tomorrow, it will return to the field. Tonight, it can rest. The fire burns lower. The room grows quieter. One child begins to yawn. Another lies down. The sleeping places are prepared. Blankets are shaken. Straw is moved. A pillow is adjusted. A small child may be carried toward the sleeping area. The house is becoming a place of rest again. The same room that served as kitchen, dining room, workshop, and family space during the day is slowly returning to its nighttime purpose. The light is reduced. A candle burns near the wall. Its flame is small. The shadows grow. The corners of the room disappear. Only the people closest to the candle remain clearly visible. Someone checks the door. The wooden latch is secure. The house is ready. Outside, the village is now almost dark. The moon may not yet be visible. The sky is clear. Stars begin appearing. 1, then another, then many more. A person standing outside can see them above the roof. The night sky has returned. The same stars that watched over the village last night are here again. The people may recognize them. They may not name them. They simply see them. A farmer stepping outside for a moment looks upward. He stands beside the house. The air is cooler now. His shoulders are still tired from the day's work. He takes a slow breath. There is a smell of smoke. The fields beyond the village are dark. He cannot see the furrows clearly. But he knows where they are. He has walked them all day. The darkness hides the work. Tomorrow, daylight will reveal it again. For now, the land is resting. The farmer turns back toward the house. The door opens. Warm light falls briefly onto the road. Then the door closes. The light disappears. The village becomes dark again. Inside another home, an older couple sits beside the hearth. Their work is finished. The fire is warm enough. They do not need to speak. They have spent many years together in these same evenings. They know the sounds of the house. They know the sounds of each other. The husband adds a small piece of wood to the fire. The wife adjusts the blanket near her shoulders. They sit quietly. Perhaps they remember earlier seasons. Winter nights. Summer nights. Years when the children were small. Years when the harvest was good. Years when it was not. The memories are not necessarily spoken. They simply pass through the mind. Then the fire shifts. A small flame rises. The couple watches it. The evening continues. This is one of the quiet gifts of fire. It gives people something to watch without demanding anything from them. A flame moves. Wood darkens. Ash settles. The light changes. It is simple. And after a long day, simple things can be enough. Eventually, the older couple prepares for sleep. The fire is reduced. The blankets are arranged. The room becomes darker. Their breathing soon joins the other quiet sounds of the house. Outside, a breeze passes through the village. The thatched roofs move slightly. A loose branch scratches against a wall. A dog barks once. Then stops. A horse shifts inside its shelter. The village is settling. It is not completely silent. It is alive. But the sounds are slow. Soft. Far apart. The darkness is deep enough now that the road has almost vanished. A person walking from one house to another would need care. There are stones. Ruts. Mud. Roots. Small holes. The road is not designed for walking in darkness. So people remain inside. The village has little reason to move at this hour. The day's work is finished. The doors are closed. The animals are sheltered. The food is eaten. The tools are stored. The people are tired. Night has taken its place again. Inside a small cottage near the edge of the village, someone is ill. The person lies beneath a blanket. The room is warmer than usual. Another family member sits nearby. There is a cup of water. A little fire. Perhaps some herbs. The sick person sleeps uneasily. The other person watches. Every small cough can wake them. Every change in breathing is noticed. This is a different kind of night. Not every household can sleep peacefully. Illness changes the rhythm. The house remains quiet, but one person is awake. Time passes slowly. The fire burns. The candle becomes smaller. The person sitting beside the bed may feel tired. but they remain there. Care is part of ordinary life. A family does what it can with the knowledge and materials available. Warmth, water, food, rest, comfort. Sometimes there is prayer. Sometimes there is simply presence. Someone sitting beside another person can be enough to make the darkness less lonely. Outside, the village knows nothing about this particular room. The road remains quiet. The fields remain dark. The stream continues flowing. The stars remain overhead. Inside the house, the night passes minute by minute. Eventually, perhaps the sick person sleeps more deeply. The person watching finally closes their eyes for a moment. Then wakes again. The candle flickers. The fire gives a faint glow. The night continues. In another house, the night is much easier. Children are asleep. The parents are asleep. The animals are quiet. The hearth has been reduced to embers. Nothing needs attention. The family has simply disappeared into sleep. This contrast exists in every village. Some nights are easy. Some are difficult. Some are interrupted. Some are long and peaceful. But most are ordinary. The village does not wake each morning remembering every detail of the night. The night disappears into the larger rhythm of life. Hours pass. The moon rises higher. Its light touches the roofs. The fields become visible again. A narrow silver path appears along the stream. The trees cast long shadows. The village looks almost different under moonlight. During the day, the houses are familiar. At night, they become shapes. Walls become darker. Windows become black squares. The church tower becomes a silhouette. The road becomes pale. The fields become one large shadow. The world feels larger again. The farmer sleeping inside the cottage cannot see any of this. He is asleep. His work is temporarily forgotten. His hands are still. His feet are still. His shoulders are resting. Tomorrow they will begin again. But tonight they belong to sleep. The moon moves. A cloud passes. The village darkens. Then the moon appears again. The hours continue. Near the stream, the water keeps moving. It does not stop for the village. It does not stop for sleep. It flows beneath the bridge. The same water that was there in the afternoon is now carrying moonlight. A few insects move above the surface. A frog calls from the reeds. The sound is answered from farther away. Then silence. The river or stream is one of the few places where night and day feel almost identical. Water flows in daylight. Water flows in darkness. People come and go. The water remains. Perhaps a mill will turn slowly somewhere nearby. If the current is strong enough, the wheel can continue moving. Its wooden structure makes a repeating sound. Water. Wood. Water. Wood. A slow mechanical rhythm. Someone sleeping nearby may hear it every night. After enough time, it becomes part of the background. The village is full of such repeated sounds. A wheel. A stream. A bell. A windmill. A distant animal. A hearth. They become familiar. And familiar sounds can make sleep easier. The night is not silent. It is simply predictable. A person hears the same roof creak. The same stream. The same animal. The same wind. The same distant church bell, when it rings. There is comfort in knowing what a sound means. The house is still standing. The animals are there. The river is flowing. The village is safe enough to sleep. The night watchman continues his slow walk. He has been awake for several hours. The air has become colder. He pulls his cloak closer. He walks along the road. The moon is bright enough to show the path. He sees the dark outlines of the houses. No doors are open. No one is outside. He hears a faint sound from a stable. He stops. Listens. Nothing unusual. He continues. At the edge of the village, he looks toward the fields. The crops are quiet. The trees are quiet. The road beyond is empty. He stands there for a moment. Then turns back. His footsteps make a soft sound. He is tired. But the night is nearly halfway gone. Eventually, someone else will take his place. Until then, he watches. The village sleeps behind him. Inside the houses, the fires are growing smaller. The candle flames disappear one by one. The night becomes deeper. And slowly, the sounds of the village become fewer. The sick household is still awake. The watchman is still awake. Perhaps a mother is awake with a restless child. Perhaps an animal keeper has risen to check a horse. But most people are asleep. Their bodies have surrendered to the long darkness. There is no need to know the exact hour. The night moves without a clock visible on every wall. People can sense it. The moon. The stars. The depth of darkness. The cold. The changing sounds. And eventually, the first hint of morning will come again. But not yet. The village is still resting. The fields are still dark. The river is still moving. The roofs are still. And inside the homes, people sleep beneath blankets made from wool, linen, or whatever materials their household can afford. The blankets may be rough. They may be patched. They may not hold warmth perfectly. But they are familiar. A person curls beneath one. The body becomes still. The breath slows. The mind wanders. Then disappears into sleep. A child dreams. An old person sleeps lightly. A farmer sleeps heavily. A worker's hands rest beside the body. A mother's face relaxes. The fire gives its last faint warmth. The village has become a collection of sleeping rooms. The night has gathered around all of them. And for several hours, nothing is required. No field needs to be plowed. No bread needs to be baked. No animal needs to be moved. No tool needs to be repaired. No road needs to be walked. Everything can wait. The village can simply exist. Dark. Quiet. Resting. Above the rooftops, the stars slowly cross the sky. Below them, the stream continues toward the river. The wind moves through the grass. The fields remain beneath the moon. And the old village, built from timber, clay, stone, straw, and human labor, settles deeper into the night. The same people who will wake before the sun are now sleeping. The same hands that will work tomorrow are now still. The same road that will carry footsteps tomorrow is empty. The same hearth that will warm breakfast is nearly cold. Everything has paused. Not forever. Only for the night. And in this quiet pause, the ordinary medieval village becomes almost timeless. One house. Then another. One sleeping family. Then another. One small fire. One dark road. One quiet field. One moving stream. The night stretches gently over everything. And while the villagers sleep, the darkness continues its slow journey toward morning. The night has grown very quiet now. The village rests beneath a dark and peaceful sky. The houses are still. The roads are empty. The fields lie softly beneath the moonlight, and the river continues its slow movement beyond the sleeping homes. Inside the cottages, the last fires have become little beds of ash. A few embers still glow beneath the gray surface. They give almost no light now. Only a faint warmth remains. The people are sleeping. Farmers rest after long hours in the fields. Craftsmen rest after working with wood, metal, leather, and cloth. Fishermen rest after the slow movement of the river. Mothers and fathers sleep beside their children. Older people rest beneath heavy blankets. Even the watchman has finally returned from the road and found a place to sit quietly. The village asks nothing from them now. The day's work is finished. The tools are waiting. The animals are quiet. The bread has been eaten. The doors are closed. The fields can wait until morning. And for a little while, everything is allowed to be still. Outside, the grass moves gently beneath the night wind. A few leaves whisper against one another. The stream passes beneath the old wooden bridge. Its sound is soft and steady. Water over stone. Water beneath wood. Water continuing onward. Perhaps someone sleeping near the river can hear it. Perhaps the sound has become so familiar that they no longer notice it. It is simply part of the night. The moon slowly moves across the sky. Its pale light touches the rooftops. It rests on the fields. It follows the road. It shines on the quiet water. Then clouds pass across it, and the village becomes darker. Nothing changes very much. The night simply continues. This is how countless nights must have passed in villages long ago. Not with great events. Not with important announcements. But with people becoming tired. People eating simple food. People closing wooden doors. People sitting beside small fires. People lying down. People listening to the wind. People falling asleep. And then, slowly, morning returning. The lives of ordinary people were built from these small moments. A loaf of bread. A bucket of water. A warm hearth. A rough blanket. A wooden tool. A quiet road. A field beneath the sun. A river beneath the moon. Things that seem small can become an entire life when repeated day after day. The village did not need to be grand. It only needed to provide a place where people could work, eat, rest, raise children, care for animals, and sleep. And tonight, we have stayed with that village through darkness. We have listened to its quiet sounds. We have watched its doors close. We have followed the last footsteps along the road. We have seen the fires become smaller. We have watched the moon rise above the fields. Now there is almost nothing left to see. The village has disappeared into the darkness. Only its outline remains. A roof. A tree. A church tower. A fence. The faint curve of the road. The river beyond. Everything else is shadow. And somewhere inside those dark houses, people are sleeping. Their breathing is slow. Their bodies are heavy. Their worries, for these few hours, are quiet. Tomorrow will bring work again. There will be fields. There will be animals. There will be bread. There will be water to carry. There will be tools to lift. There will be roads to walk. There will be another long day. But tomorrow has not arrived yet. For now, there is only night. Only rest. Only the soft darkness surrounding the village. The stars remain overhead. The river continues moving. The wind passes gently over the fields. The old roofs rest beneath the sky. And the village sleeps. Perhaps the first faint light of dawn is already waiting beyond the horizon. But there is no need to follow it. We can remain here a little longer. Beside the quiet river. Near the sleeping homes. Under the wide and ancient sky. Listening to the water. Listening to the wind. Listening to the soft sounds of a village at rest. The fire has faded. The road is empty. The fields are still. The houses are warm enough. The blankets are pulled close. The night is peaceful. And slowly, the sounds become softer. The stream becomes a distant whisper. The wind becomes almost silent. The village seems to drift farther away. The rooftops fade into the darkness. The fields fade. The road fades. Only the quiet river remains. Moving gently through the night. Moving beneath the stars. Moving past the sleeping village. And as the river continues its slow journey, the old village rests beside it, unchanged for these few peaceful hours. There is nowhere to go. Nothing to finish. Nothing to hurry toward. The night is enough. The darkness is soft. The earth is quiet. The people are sleeping. And little by little, the ancient village disappears into silence. The river keeps flowing. The stars keep shining. The wind moves once across the grass. Then becomes still. And the night grows deeper. Quieter. Softer. Until there is almost nothing left but darkness and the gentle sound of water moving beside the sleeping village. Rest now. The village is resting too. And somewhere beyond the quiet fields, beneath the fading moon, the river continues softly into the night.